is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are so.
It's time for Braves baseball. April in the ATL continues tonight in Atlanta, Georgia. 30 games in 30 days. Tonight we wrap up our two-game set with the Boston Red Sox. Hanley Ramirez is back in the lineup for the Beantown Bashers. Freddie Freeman's moved up a spot in the batting order. Let's see if that helps the Braves score a run in this set. They lost 1-0 last night. Hi again, friends. Joe Simpson, Tom Glavine, Chip Carey. Welcome back to the ballpark. From the frying pan to the fire. Great game last night, pitched by Julio Teheran. No offensive support. Now, Joe, they're staring a former Cy Young Award winner in the face in David Price tonight.
Yeah, and a five-time All-Star. He's the guy who was the prize of free agency last winter, and the Red Sox got him. And while he's undefeated at 2-0, his start with the Red Sox has not been David Price-like. One of the things that, well, we'll talk about Matt Wisler first. Matt Wisler, by the way, pitched real well against the Dodgers, and he's been pitching good baseball. He just doesn't have a W to show for it so far on the year. Hopefully tonight will be his night against a real good pitcher named David Price. Matt Wisler's last 7 games, 3-1, a 2.09 ERA.
Joe always could hit a changeup, Tommy.
Yes, he could. Yes, he could. Anyway, yeah, Matt Wisler, great start his last time out, a tough opponent, another tough one tonight, as Joe was mentioning, in David Price. 2-0 in the year, but not off to a David Price-like start. Got roughed up big time his last time out against Tampa Bay, tying a career high, giving up 8 earned runs. So look for him to try and get things on track a little bit tonight, and he has been awfully good on the road. You see his career numbers, 106 and 56, 5-time All-Star, Cy Young Award winner, big contract, big money pitcher, and he's going to want to be that guy tonight for the Red Sox.
Well, sadly, my grandfather used to say in times like these, let's get some runs.
Yeah.
Need more than one tonight against David Price as we wrap up the series with the Red Sox. We'll talk with Matt Wisler. He's excited about tonight's matchup. Kelsey will just talk about that with Matt when we come right back.
Atlanta Braves baseball is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day. Tuesday night Atlanta Braves baseball is presented by Mazda.
Welcome back, guys. Game 2 of the Red Sox versus the Braves, and a solid arm in the rotation today. Matt Whistler on the bump for Atlanta. He is coming off of that incredible outing versus the Dodgers, and it really was the outing that the Braves have been waiting for a starting pitcher, but the road doesn't get any easier as he takes on the Red Sox for the first time in his career tonight.
Yeah, I mean, the history the Red Sox have, it's pretty amazing what they've done. This is Ortiz last year, too, so it's kind of cool to be a part of that. And, I'm excited to, once we do get to Boston, too, to kind of see that stadium, see the history there, and, explore the city a little bit.
So we have a great pitching matchup for you tonight. Matt Whistler versus David Price. Whistler tries to pick up his first win over Boston. Lineups and first pitch coming your way right after the break.
Number 20 of the 2016 season, the Braves host the Red Sox in Game 2 of our set here at Turner Field, and Matt Whistler is ready to go.
Making his fourth start on the year, 0-1 on the season, pitched well, looking for his first win tonight. You see his career splits, 11 games here at Turner Field, 5-3 with a 2.89, so he's pitched well here at Turner Field. Look for that to continue tonight and pick up a win here before we go on the road.
Absolutely. 23 years old, 6'3", 195 out of Bryan, Ohio. His 4 keys to pitching success tonight. Who's the ace? Maybe he's the ace tonight, not the other guys. He pitched better than the ace that he pitched against last week. And Clayton Kershaw matched him pitch for pitch, 6 2/3. He only gave up 1 unearned run. And right-handed hitters are 5 for 38 against him this year. They have hit 1 of the 3 home runs he's given up, but he is wearing out the righties.
So the Braves have got to catch the ball behind Matt Whistler. Here's how they line up defensively. Francoeur, Stubbs, and Markakis left to right in the outfield. Garcia, Ibar at short, Castro at second. Freddie Freeman is the first baseman with a left-hander on the mound. Tyler Flowers gets the start behind the plate. Red Sox come in at 10-9. They're a game and a half behind the Orioles. Boy, the top 3-4 hitters in their lineup are awfully talented. Mookie Betts, Dustin Pedroia, Xander Bogaerts, Travis Shaw, the first 4. Then Hanley Ramirez, the former Marlin and Dodger, now playing first base for Boston. playing well over there. Jackie Bradley Jr. was the villain last night. He hit a home run, the only run that scored in a 1-0 Boston victory in the series opener last night. So the Braves and Sox will face off in game 2. Then we'll race to the airport and head up to Beantown to continue the series at Fenway Park tomorrow night. Warm night, 79 degrees. At first pitch. And that's tipped and caught by Flowers. 1 ball, 1 strike for Mookie Betts, who had a double last night.
First time in 5 games he hadn't reached in the first inning and scored a run. A really good looking player.
Little low to Betts. 2 balls and a strike. Popped up. And Ibar at short is there. And he makes the one-handed catch. And Whistler gets his first man.
94 on that pitch, Tom. Ran it in on him. And that's something we saw the inning where he got the save. He came in blazing. One pitch I remember was 96, so it's there if he needs it.
Well, maybe that's what that 1-inning game did for him. Made him realize what his higher gear is. Maybe he got a little, kind of locked into starting pitching and kind of topping out at 92. But maybe he did show himself that, hey, wait a minute, I got a little more I can go to when I need it.
Dustin Pedroia, the number 2 hitter for the Red Sox, takes a little low. Pedroia 0 for 3 last night and hitting .309 for the year. Pedroia was a little late. That just missed.
Good pitch. Tough one to lay off, too.
Almost hit him. Now it's a 3-ball, 2-strike count. This is what the Red Sox like to do. They like to work deep counts, drive up pitch counts for the opposing starters. And Pedroia about to see a 6th pitch. And he draws a 1-out walk.
Walks have not really been a problem for Matt. In a 4-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio prior to that. Free pass. Only his 5th.
And that brings up Xander Bogaerts. He had a hit last night. And Matt is just missing. Bogaerts only 23 years old. He's out of Aruba. And he smokes that one the other way for a 1-out hit. They got a couple of guys, fellas, that the ball just jumps off their bats, and Bogaerts is one of them. And here they are in the first inning, threatening to score against Matt Whistler.
2 in the first inning so far, and did not have one last night. But you're right, Chip. These young guys that we talked so much about last night, the ball really does fly off their bat.
So Travis Shaw, who won the third base job over Pablo Sandoval, 8th in the American League in hitting at .318. He's their cleanup man and takes a strike.
Spot for that 90-92 with some sink. Get your ground ball, double play.
More balls than strikes for Whistler so far in the first inning.
Well, like I say, he's been close. His misses have been good misses. Pedroia laid off a couple of tough breaking balls that, you know, those are at bat. You got to kind of tip your hat.
Swing and a drive belted deep right field. Boston leads 3-0.
There's another one of those sounds. .94 fastball. And the way this ball took off, guys, I thought it might go in the second deck.
Well, they're pounding him in the hole at bat. Tried one more and went into the left-hander's happy zone, down and in.
So before he's thrown a pitch, David Price leads 3-0. Hanley Ramirez. New attitude, new position, they say in Boston. He's their first baseman. Former Rookie of the Year, traded by the Red Sox to the Marlins in the deal that brought Josh Beckett and Mike Lowell to the Red Sox. And now Hanley smokes one toward right. Markakis on the run. He gets there as Drew Stubbs went sliding by behind the Braves right fielder. There's the second out.
New attitude. Does that mean he had a bad attitude before?
Well, I don't think he liked playing left field too much. But the newspaper reports out of Boston say Hanley Ramirez has come to camp in great shape. Looks leaner, trimmer.
He does.
And he's done a very good job for them over at first base this year. So here's Jackie Bradley. A solo home run, the only run scored last night. Up and in. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And that's fouled at the Braves dugout. 1-2. And that's shot down the right field line and out of play, foul. There's a stat for everything, and the Red Sox media relations folks had to go deep into the archives to find this note that you were talking about, Tom. The last Red Sox player to homer in the 7th inning or later in a 1-0 win was Dwight Evans in 1990.
That just seems so hard to believe.
The Red Sox are doing what they do. That's pitch number 26.
Well, and despite that laser, Matt's got to regroup, stay confident, and hope that he can throw nothing but zeros on the scoreboard from this point forward.
Bradley got hit by a pitch.
Well, that's kind of the same spot where Garcia got hit the other day, right on the outside of the knee.
And Roger McDowell will quickly make his way to the mound here in the 1st inning. Pedroia walked, Bogart singled to right, and Travis Shaw hit a 418-foot home run deep into the seats in right.
I would guess, Tom, that it's hard when you only pitch every 5 days and you build up toward that start. You're feeling good. You're coming off an outstanding start, and have something like this jump up and bite in the 1st inning. It's hard to stay focused. And
well, yeah, and particularly when your team's going the way they're going, you're not scoring a lot of runs right now. 3-0 in the 1st inning seems insurmountable. So you got to get all that out of your head.
A strike to Brock Holt, who's reached base in every game he's played this year. Foul to the left side, and quickly 0-2 to Holt. Brock Holt had a memorable game against the Braves last year. On June 16th, he hit for the cycle. Lifetime, Holt hitting .385 in 10 lifetime games against the Braves. Little flare into shallow center. Stubbs coming on. Diving try. Can't get it. The ball drops. Here comes Bradley around 3rd. Brian Butterfield waves it. Throw to the plate is up the line. Brock Holt with a blooper. Bradley scores on the play to make it 4-0 Boston.
And that's the way it's going for the Braves. You know, it's a blooper with 2 outs, so the guy at first base is going to be running on the crack of the bat. He is fast, no doubt about it. Great effort by Stubbs, but then it didn't just bounce away from him. It crashed away from him, where everybody had to go chase it, and that gave Bradley time to go get it. Oh, that's off the face. That got him in the jaw, I think.
Yep. Drew some blood, too.
Boy.
The Braves will walk the catcher, Christian Vasquez, as Drew Stubbs bloodied on that bloop double. So that'll bring up David Price. Pitchers love these kinds of innings, don't they?
Yeah, that's what you always want. Hit the 1st inning before you've taken the mound.
David Price grew up in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Was a huge Braves fan as a youngster. is looking forward to swinging the bat tonight. Pretty good cut.
Not bad.
Already action in the Braves bullpen. 0-2 for David Price. 2 on, 2 out.
That was 95 and overthrown a little bit.
And strike 3 called by Joe West, and that'll retire the side. The Red Sox send 9 to the plate. 4 men score. A Shaw 3-run homer, the big blow. They're going to beat David Price tonight. Boston gets 4 in their first turn at bat against Matt Whistler. Nick Markakis will lead off the Braves lineup. Daniel Castro, Jonas Garcia. Freddie Freeman moves up to the 4th spot with Francoeur, Flower, Stubb, Ibar, and Whistler to face left-hander David Price.
2-0 on the year. Big ERA. Roughed up his last time out. See his career versus the Braves in 3 starts. 2-1. With a 1.89 ERA, excuse me. So all those numbers certainly in their favor. And oh, by the way, for a guy who's accustomed to a lot of runs scored for him, 7.5 a game, highest in the American League, a 4-run lead before he takes the mound comes as no surprise.
Well, he couldn't hold a 4-run lead last time out. He led 5-1 and gave up 8 runs to Tampa Bay in 3 2/3 innings. Hopefully history will repeat itself here in Atlanta tonight.
He's had a pretty high batting average against him in the first inning too, also because it takes him a little while to get untracked. Let's see if the Braves can get a couple back right here.
David Price very tough on left-hand hitters. Nick Markakis has hit him at a .275 career clip. And his first offering of the night is off the plate. to left. Brock Holt will have room. And Markakis is out number 1. That swing will come in handy starting tomorrow night when we head to Fenway Park. Yeah. And here's Daniel Castro, Braves second baseman, batting .308 with 3 RBIs. Seems like Daniel's been here forever. But looking at the rookie batting department stats, he's tied with Brandon Drury of Arizona for the second highest batting average among rookie players. Aledmus Diaz of the Cardinals is hitting .481. To right. And Mookie Betts hardly had to move. 2 outs. Well, what a coup it is for the Red Sox to acquire a pitcher of the caliber of David Price. Not only do they have him in rotation for 32 or 33 starts, you factor in the 30 starts he can't make for the Toronto Blue Jays in the East. And that is a great signing for the Red Sox.
That's a good point. It's a different windup, to be sure, isn't it, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like he's pitching out of the stretch all the time, but a little bit more movement, obviously, when it's the windup, but not a lot of moving parts.
And a base hit by Garcia. He has been some kind of impressive in the first 20 games. His second hit of the series will bring up Freddie Freeman.
He's been covering everything. It looked like a changeup down and away. He smoked it back through the middle.
Yeah, that's a pretty good pitch.
Freddie Freeman hitting .200. He had 2 hits last night, one of them a bunt. And this one shot the other way, a base hit for Freeman. So a rare hit by a left-handed batter against David Price. And Atlanta's in business with Jeff Francoeur and 2 outs.
Indeed, Chip, lefty's just 1 for 9 against him on the year until that one.
When he does that, that's a great sign.
Well, it seems like we talk about it all the time. Every time when he's struggling, it seems like every time he starts doing that, that's what we say. Well, when he starts doing that, that's a good sign. I mean,
yeah. Good patience by Francoeur, who likes the first pitch more often than not. Jeff hitting .300. Multi-hit games in 3 of the last 4 for Atlanta.
His fastball sits 91 to 94. That one was 92. Outstanding changeup. He'll throw a cutter off his fastball too. Mix in a curve.
Line drive into center field. That'll get down for a base hit. Here comes Garcia around third. He's going to score. And Jeff Francoeur drives home his 4th run. And the Braves get one of those 4 Boston runs back.
Well, Jeff's had a good homestand. That's 9 for 19. And he's now 4 for 7 in his career off Price.
That was a backdoor cutter that came back over the heart of the plate.
Here's one run back.
Tyler Flowers has had a good homestand as well. Tyler's 6 for his last 13. And a strike. Joe, you mentioned the velocity of David Price. His motion looks so smooth, so deliberate, and then zip, the ball's on you. Is that accurate?
Very deceptive. And you've got to respect that because it is a good fastball, and that's why his changeup is so good. As good as he has been in his career, 50 games over 500, 106 and 56. He's not had a lot of success in the postseason. Division series, for example, he's 1-6.
If I remember correctly, I don't think David Price has ever won a postseason start. His playoff wins have come in relief. Two balls, one strike. And now it's even. Braves have gone 14 games between home runs. Drew Stubbs, the last Brave to go deep. A long one here from Tyler Flowers would tie it up in the first. And out of play. Ooh. Close call.
Jeff Francoeur over there at first base has that sun shining through the stadium right in his eyes. He's been trying to shade it with his hand. Can leave first base now on this pitch and get out of there.
Freeman, Francoeur, and Flowers, the principals. And now Vasquez wants to talk it over with David Price. Here comes the 3-2.
Good cut. His best fastball at 94.
Good or bad, he spoiled a couple of two-strike pitches now. Keep forcing the issue, see if you can get him to make a mistake.
Downstairs, they're loaded.
Boy, was that a good take. All this with 2 out. Nobody on.
3 singles and a walk now sets it up for Drew Stubbs.
Drew's going to have a fat lip after that ball he dove for. Hit him in the face.
Oh, it'll feel a lot better if we can find a gap.
No kidding. If you warm up, you sit for 30 minutes and go back out there, you have a little trouble getting it going again.
Yeah. I mean, it's not ideal. I mean, as much as you like sending 9 guys up in the first inning and getting 4 runs, lose some of that feel you had during warm-ups.
That was right down Broadway, 0-2.
Well, started him out with a changeup, good pitch. Got him looking something else and took the fastball right down the middle.
Way high. That's tipped and caught by Vasquez. And that'll retire the side. The Braves get a run on 3 hits and leave them loaded in the first. 4-1 game.
The Braves so far this season have faced some incredible pitchers, and they're hitting up on them. Of course, there's David Price on the mound tonight. You know, in his last start, he actually snapped a 31-game starting streak of 5 or more innings pitched. And, you know, they're looking to hopefully prolong that. We talked to some of the guys in the clubhouse earlier. They said they faced some great left-handed pitchers. They're prepared for this. You know, they do hope that he can struggle a little bit more this game, and they can hopefully pick up a win and get on the winning side of things. Guys.
Well, thank you, Kelsey. And you're right. The schedule makers have done the Braves absolutely no favors in the first 20 games of the year.
No, teams that are recent participants in the postseason typically have good pitchers, and the Braves are seeing all of them.
So Whistler got a run back, and he'll start with the top of the order, and Mookie Betts in the Boston second. Chance for Matt to reset. That's popped out to Ibar, his first time up. He's 0 for 1. And a shot towards center, and Stubbs will get there. 1 out. Trouble for Matt began with a Pedroia walk. popped up. Adonis is going to make the play. 2 down.
You were talking earlier, Chip, about how these guys take a lot of pitches. They try to run the pitch count up. Well, one way to fix that is what he just did to Pedroia. He was taking all the way, almost stepped out of the box to get out of the way, called strike. Throws another one for a strike, forced him to swing the bat.
One ball, no strikes for Xander Bogaerts. Up the middle, another hit. Bogaerts is 2 for 2. Shaw hit one a country mile his first time up, 418 feet into the seats in right field. That gave the Red Sox a quick 3-0 lead. They added a run on a Brock Holt double.
It's really not that unusual. I've seen a lot of guys that wear number 47 from Boston hit balls 400 feet.
With a driver.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll see if he pitches him a little bit differently this time. Tried to pound him in last at bat. Made a mistake.
Runner goes. The pitch a strike. The throw to second is off target. And Bogaerts has his 4th stolen base. Tell you what, the Red Sox are the running Red Sox, aren't they?
Yeah, he had one last night too.
"17 steals for the Red Sox. Bogaerts 4 for 4. And now he's in scoring position. Oh, and 2. Swing and a miss. It pops away from Flowers, but he'll recover, and that will end the inning. No runs, a hit, a man left. 8-9-1 on the lineup card coming up for the Braves, who trail 4-1 early.
is sponsored by Delta Airlines, your local Ford dealer, and Xfinity. X1 from Xfinity will change the way you experience sports.
We go to the bottom half of the second inning. Time for today's Academy Sports and Outdoors leaderboard. David Price's ranks among left-handed pitchers since 2012. All those good numbers have him near the top.
That's how you get a $200 million contract.
Yeah. Those wins, third among lefties. The most important of all those categories.
To short. In between hop, but Bogart stayed with it and got his man at first. The interesting thing about the long-term deal that David Price signed, it's really become kind of a new fad. There's an opt-out clause in that contract for David Price. He can become a free agent again after the 2018 season. So he could pitch 3 years in Boston, and if he has 3 great years, he could potentially test the free agent market once again.
Conversely, if he has 3 dog years,
can they opt out?
Yeah, can the Red Sox say?
Usually doesn't work that way.
Probably not.
Right?
They're saddled with it.
Yeah. 1 ball, 1 strike.
If he has 3 bad years, they'll seem like dog years.
Good cut. And off the facing of the second deck. It's 2-2. And a swing and a miss. Whistler's retired. That's the second out. Second strikeout for David Price. And we go back to the top. And Nick Markakis.
David Price always wore number 14, but he wasn't going to wear that in Boston.
No, he wasn't.
Jim Rice's number. It's been retired.
Price, the #1 overall pick in 2007 by the Tampa Bay Rays. At least I think they were the Rays then. They weren't the Devil Rays back then. Might have been. 119 win season, 120 win season. And that's poked foul by Markakis. 0-2. Last year, Price started the year with Detroit, went 9-4. Was traded to Toronto, went 9-1 in 11 starts with the Blue Jays. And that's taken in the dirt low. 1 ball, 2 strikes. What a job Nick Markakis has done for the Braves. And strike 3 ends the inning. 3 up, 3 down. We go to the 3rd.
Grammy Award winner Chris Stapleton has taken the country music scene by storm, and he's coming to Turner Field Sunday, May 29th for a free post-game concert as part of the Coca-Cola and Delta Airlines Summer Concert Series. Visit Braves.com/concerts to get your tickets today. Boy, Country Music Awards and Grammy Awards. The guy has really jumped in the middle of the music.
Yes, he has. That'll be a good concert.
Hanley Ramirez flied out his first time up. Out of play. He does look a lot trimmer.
Yeah, he does. Looks like he's in good shape, and clearly came back with a little bit better attitude this year and looking to have a better year, and so far off to a great start.
When you play in Boston and you're on the first base dugout, it's a lot shorter hop to first base than having to run to left field.
That's right.
That might have been part of it. Ramirez played for Freddie Gonzalez down in Florida. Flowers Meadow had a little chalk kicked up in his face and that ball in the dirt. Good breaking ball, got him. Third strikeout for Whistler.
Froze him a little bit. Took it. Good pitch. Got the call. Breaking ball's been sharp.
That looks like he's trying to grow some mutton chops maybe, but he's got a lot of filling in to do. Bradley right into the shift. Ibar right there for the out. Must be kind of nice, Tommy, when you give up a shot like that. You know it's normally right into center field, but there's a guy there.
And you turn around and you're like, oh, I'm glad we did the shift on that one.
Brock Holt looped one into shallow right his first time up. Drew Stubbs made a diving effort. It bounced up, hit Drew in the face, and turned into an RBI double. Big hop for Castro. Easy inning for Whistler. He needed that. 7 pitches. We go to the bottom of the third. David Ortiz announced before the season that he would be retiring at the end of the 2016 season, and in his last trip to Turner Field, the Atlanta Braves did a nice thing with a video montage on the big screen. One of only 4 players with 500 homers and 3 World Series titles, and that's pretty good company.
That's real good company.
Bottom of the 3rd. Castro, Garcia, and Freeman due up. Daniel lined out his first time up. Hard hit one hopper. 1 out. Price retired the first 2 batters in the first inning if you just joined us, and then 3 consecutive singles plated a run. And Adonis Garcia had the first one. Pitch on the corner.
92 at the knees on the black. Tough to do anything with that.
Cutter swung on and missed. There's the changeup, the beauty. His 4th strikeout.
Good arm speed with that pitch. Kind of starts it in that same slot as that cutter the pitch before. So kind of cheating to get a cutter, and next thing you know, it's change up and swing over the top of it.
Freddie Freeman's base hit in the first inning was lined to left. A good sign. 2 hits last night, including a bunt single. He's climbed up over the Mendoza line. Freddie has raised his average to 212. One of the things Freeman talked about earlier this week or in last weekend was talking about his swing is that he was standing up out of his crouch. He needed to stay down, which would help him stay back. Good swing there.
Well, I'm sure his offseason was a little bit different this year with the wrist injuries and having to nurse that, and probably still trying to play catch up a little bit.
Tied him up inside. Good pitch again by Price. 5 strikeouts.
Boston has the lead. If you hadn't heard, Craig Sager will be on the cover of the latest edition of Sports Illustrated.
That's outstanding. Comes out May 2nd. Sideline strong indeed. And he's working tonight. Told me tonight that he's going to be at Phillips Arena for the Celtics and Hawks playoff game. That's outstanding.
I got to say, though, that sport coat is a little muted for Craig.
Yeah, a little toned down, right?
Well, they do a lot with airbrushing.
Craig, we can't wait to see you here at Turner Field, and we are all inspired by your very courageous fight. As Christian Vasquez leads off for the Red Sox in the 4th. This has been the inning of trouble for Matt Whistler this year. First inning problems tonight. Barred short. A friendly hop. And gets his man by a step. One down.
Yeah, let's hope he's already got that bad inning out of his system.
How do you figure that?
You don't. I mean, it's just, you know, if there was an explanation for it, like, you know, we always talk about my first inning stuff. If there was an explanation for it, you'd fix it. But, you know, just one of those things that sometimes it does get in your head and you know about it and you get to that 4th inning and try to pitch defensively so it doesn't happen. And, you know, just got to go out there a few times and put it out of your head, get through it a few times, and the next thing you know, you're past it and on your way.
I think his last outing against the Dodgers may have helped correct that a little bit. It had been such a horrible inning for him, and he started the 4th inning against the Dodgers with back-to-back base hits and then retired the next 3 guys, including a strikeout. So maybe he's put that behind him.
He's got his mound opponent, David Price, in the batter's box. And Joe West said that was too low. 2-1 the count. Flowers wanted that call. 3-1.
It was a little low by Fox track standards.
And he just walked the pitcher. So Price will run the bases as we go back to the top. And Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts went to John Overton High School in Tennessee. And he's a multi-sport athlete. He took part in the Professional Bowlers Association World Series of Bowling 7 in Reno, Nevada last December. Balls and a strike.
Yeah, it's not something you normally see. He's on the high school baseball, football, and bowling team.
I don't know of a high school that has a bowling team other than his, clearly.
Yeah, I think he may have started it.
Yeah. Got a 1-team league.
Yeah.
His.
1 ball, 1 strike. Price leads at first. Well, as good a bowler as Betts is, he will never ever win the coveted Bolero Trophy.
I don't know that that trophy's been retired just yet, but someone's got it for safekeeping for now.
In the air, shallow right. Castro on the run. Oh, he had it and dropped it. Did he catch it? Yeah, he did catch it. And a double play.
What a play.
There's that guy again.
There he is.
Unbelievable play to start a double play by Castro. He caught it with a bare hand. and then threw a strike to first to end the inning. Amazing. One later on tonight from Daniel Castro, an incredible acrobatic double play.
And he had to go a long way to get it. Look how far out into right field he was.
All right, great play.
We keep telling you, you want to latch on to somebody. He's a good one.
So that's our Toyota key play of the game. A great catch by Daniel Castro, and the Braves are up in the home fourth. 4-1, Boston has the lead. Jeff Francoeur has the Braves RBI hit. Price gets ahead with a strike.
Tom, do you always take your 8 pitches between innings when you first go out?
Yeah, usually. Every now and then I try and sneak a couple extra. Good.
Francoeur has another hit.
Tell you what, he's raking some left-handers too. That makes him 9 for 18 against left-handed pitching. Good start to the inning.
Tyler Flowers walked with 2 outs in the first. A 31-minute first inning.
Wind shifted a little bit, blowing out straight out to center field. Maybe Tyler can get into one and snap this homerless streak for the Braves.
Games and counting, longest for the Braves since September of 1970. The last time they went 15 games without a homer, 1946. Tyler didn't get it. Price with 6 strikeouts already. It's just so easy looking for David Price.
Well, it's pretty smooth. Like I said, not a lot of moving parts. Certainly not a max effort delivery, but you know, there's a lot of deception there. I mean, 94 on the high end, and he's got a 80-something mile-an-hour changeup and can locate. I mean, it's tough to get a feel for.
Last start against Tampa Bay, 3 2/3 innings, 8 hits, 8 runs. As Kelsey was saying, snapped a string of consecutive starts where he pitched at least 6 innings.
And they need another start like Rick Porcello gave them last night. Their bullpen has been used a ton in the early going. So far, Price in command, but a 2-0 count for Stubbs.
It's kind of why I cringed a little bit when I saw Ryan Weber loosening up behind Whistler in the first inning, hoping that Matt could get through the first inning and settle in a little bit and save the bullpen some innings for the Braves.
Price nibbling. 3-1.
Good cut, but again a little late. When he wants a little extra on his fastball, he can go get it. This will be his last start at Turner Field. 2-0 with a 2.25 ERA in his career.
Vasquez couldn't hang on. Red Sox looking for some redemption in 2016. They finished in last place 3 of the last 4 years. And that just missed the inside edge. Good eye by Stubbs. 2 on for Ibar.
Price wanted that. He stood there looking straight down at the ground so as not to irritate Joe West, but he thought that was a strike.
Eric looking for his second hit of the year against a left-handed pitcher. And pops that one out of play foul.
Well, if anybody needs a hit, it is Eric. 1 for 19 on the homestand and 4 for his last 47.
Well, he's due, right? Why not now?
Base hit to right. Betts got to it quickly. Ibar does pick up a hit. And now Matt Whistler will come to the plate with the bases loaded.
We keep talking about how the Braves are begging for a home run that doesn't seem to want to come. Well, it's not just a home run, it's extra base hits, period. That was their 69th hit in their last 8 games and only 8 extra base hits total.
Well, think about how the game started for the Braves offense. 3 straight singles scored a run. And here in the 4th inning, 2 hits and a walk. and the bases are loaded. Braves have to work so hard to score their runs. There's not any quick strike capability. At least not yet. Let's see what Whistler can do. Toward right center field. Betts on the run. He's going to track it down. Francoeur will tag and score. Stubbs moves to third. Matt Whistler puts it in play and picks up an RBI.
Great job by Matt. He has one of the 2 Braves hits by pitchers, and he almost burned the Boston outfield with that one.
Yeah, it's a good at bat. All you're trying to do is find a ball elevated a little bit. You can get to the outfield, stay out of that double play, and he got one and almost snuck it over Betts' head.
Carlos Tosca, the terrific Braves bench coach, with some instruction from Matt Whistler. As the Braves pull a run closer. Now Markakis is up. Popped up.
He doesn't see it.
Bogarts can't find it. Holt's looking for it, and he'll make the catch. Bogarts and Shaw look lost. And the Braves get a run in their half of the 4th.
Presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price, every day.
The always entertaining Home Depot tool race between innings in Atlanta. How about Matt Whistler? Gave up 4 in the first. He hasn't given up anything since. And he helped himself with a sac fly and an RBI. Driven foul by Pedroia, strike 1.
Well, again, we talked about that in the first inning, about how you just hope he can settle in and blank them the rest of the way and hope his offense can pick up some slack. And he has even chipped in offensively. It's, I don't know, we talk about this some, but there's only been a couple of games that the Braves have been blown out of.
Right.
You know, they're 4-15 and their record is horrible and they're 10.5 out and all that stuff. But they're not getting crushed. They're not getting blown out. All these 1- and 2-run games.
That's dumped down the right field line, and that's trouble. Markakis has to dig it out of the corner. He kicked it for a moment, but Pedroia will stop at second with a leadoff double.
Pretty good pitch and a pretty good piece of hitting.
Yeah, they've got that right field foul pole in Boston called the pesky pole. This guy's the pesky second baseman for Boston.
Well, I think it's worth remembering too when we talk about the Braves and the offensive issues that they've endured for most of the season. As Bogarts bats with a 2-for-2 night. Freddie Gonzalez hasn't had his lineup together. They really miss Ender Inciarte, who was looking so good this spring. Pulled a hamstring in the second game of the year. Ender's down in Orlando. He's beginning to ramp up his activities. Could be playing in rehab games by the end of the week. To right. Pedroia will tag. Markakis airmails the throw, and it's late. Productive out for Bogarts, who's had a good game. And look, I'm not going to say that Ender Inciarte is going to come in and hit 340 and hit 30 home runs for you. But he's a professional major league hitter.
Yeah, they've missed him.
Gordon Beckham's also down in Orlando. He's got a hamstring issue as well.
Well, yeah, you know, the other thing too, it's the ripple effect. Take a guy out of the lineup, it has an effect on where everybody else in the lineup hits too.
Travis Shaw hit one a country mile in the first inning.
Yeah, I can tell you from personal experience, this is not when you want to play first base. When you have to play in on the grass with a big guy like this up there, left-handed hitter.
Off the end of the bat. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Pedroia 90 feet away for Boston. And Flowers can't hang on, and Pedroia will score standing up.
Did that hit in the dirt? I couldn't tell from our vantage point.
Not like it his foot or his glove.
I wouldn't consider that a wild pitch.
Was he crossed up on that play?
His glove went out, like moving to his left, like he was going out for something like a backdoor breaking ball.
Adonis at third. 2 outs.
Almost like a slider instead of what turned out to be, at least it looked like a curveball. Watch his glove. Out and then down.
So Hanley Ramirez is the batter. Hanley's 0 for 2. That's not news. Talked a lot about the hitting streaks the Red Sox have had against the Braves. Hanley Ramirez is not in on that fun. He's just 2 for his last 32 against Braves pitching. Boston with 4 in the first, 1 so far here in the 5th. Single runs for the Braves in the 1st and 4th. Hanley Ramirez, a lifetime .296 hitter.
He's got a batting title to his credit.
Took that pitch low. Oh, what a trade, though. Andy Ramirez, Harvey Garcia, Anibal Sanchez, and Jesus Delgado for Josh Beckett, Mike Lowell, and Guillermo Mota in 2005.
Put the Red Sox over the top.
To right. Nick drifting back. He's still going back, and he has just enough room. Andy Ramirez flies to deep right. Boston adds a run and leads 5-2.
The 5th inning, and fans, don't forget, the first 20,000 fans in attendance on Saturday, May 28th will receive a Chipper Rescues Freddy ATV bobblehead. Yeah, funny as you might imagine it. Visit Braves.com/tickets to secure your tickets today.
That's excuse me, the picture of Chipper and Freddie during Snowmageddon here a couple of years ago. And Freddie was stranded like so many others in Atlanta. Chipper had to get his ATV out and go find him.
Freddie said, "I've never been so cold in my life." I don't know if there was a Dumb and Dumber episode there, but let's just say he was cold.
Daniel Castro's had another fine night for the Braves, and he lines to short for out number 1. Bud Norris gets the ball for the Braves tomorrow night. Will be in Boston. And Stephen Wright is the man assigned to start the game for the Red Sox. Wright is a knuckleball pitcher.
And has a 1.40 ERA in 3 starts. 8 walks, 17 strikeouts in 19 innings.
David Price will handle that.
That was interesting. Adonis came out of the box like the ball went off his foot.
Yeah.
Maybe it was his left knee that buckled a little bit, the one that was hit by the pitch the other day. Yeah, that was his left knee that just didn't have any push off on it. as disheartening as that run in the top of the 5th was, there's still a lot of baseball left here. Ah, the smell of hot dogs in the 5th inning. Nothing like it.
Nothing like it.
Just kind of wafting up from below us from the stands. Mustard. Oh, wait, maybe they're closer than I thought.
1 ball, 1 strike. That might be a great Toyota fan question. Is ketchup on a hot dog un-American? Nope.
Nope.
Nope. Fly ball left. Brock Holt. David Price.
Mayonnaise on a cheeseburger? Yes.
Well, we'll get into that and other topics as we go to inning number 6.
Xfinity game break. A lot of focus and excitement surrounding the Braves farm system, and another nice day so far today over in Gwinnett. Tyrell Jenkins with 4 shutout innings, and then in Double-A, the Mississippi Braves. Ozzie Albies went 3 for 5 with a double, a home run, and he scored 2 runs. And then in Single-A, everyone, you all know this name, Dansby Swanson, 1 for 3 with an RBI and a run. Guys,
Dustin Peterson on that list too, Kelsey, and we keep seeing his name on this list. He was the other Peterson in the deal that came when he came from the Padres, along with Jace and others, Matt Whistler included. But looks like a real good hitter. And according to one of his minor league coaches in the Padres system, Jock Jones, he gave him rave reviews, said he's going to be a good player.
So the night is done for Matt Whistler. He goes 5 innings, gives up 5 runs. Eric O'Flaherty toes the slab, as Bradley, Holt, and Vasquez are coming up for the Red Sox. Two straight scoreless outings for O'Flaherty, covering an inning and a third. Bouncer to first. Freddie Freeman's got it. Jackie Bradley's retired. That's how the 6th inning starts.
Tommy, you were growing up in Boston at a time where the Red Sox, I mean, it's rare that they've had bad teams, but the heyday of Yastrzemski, Rice, Freddie Lynn, those guys, who was your favorite player when you were a kid?
I loved Yaz. Everybody loved Yaz. Freddie Lynn was probably, you know, when he came up, he kind of took the city by storm, and he was a lot of fun to watch. You know, Jim Rice. So probably that era, those guys, the '75 team.
Yeah, they were good.
Yeah.
Rick Burleson.
Yep. Butch Hobson, Carlton Fisk.
Carlton Fisk with one of the great home runs in postseason history. That incredible camera footage where Fisk was waving his hands, willing the ball to stay fair over the Green Monster.
Yeah, I think every kid in Massachusetts was doing that during a wiffle ball game at some point in time for the next 10 years.
And Eric takes care of Brock Holt. 2 up, 2 down for O'Flaherty. And here's Vasquez. He's walked and he's grounded out. Like this Boston team a lot. A lot of homegrown players, a lot of athleticism, a lot of interchangeable parts.
A lot of scrappiness.
Yeah, as I said last night, they've got a lot of sub 6-foot talent on this team that can do a lot of things.
One ball, one strike. Vasquez missed all of last year coming back from Tommy John surgery. And he's one of those sub 6 footers, 5'9", 195 pounds out of Puerto Rico.
They also did a nice thing for their organization in hiring Dave Dombrowski too to run things. Good baseball man. Steady, professional. Did a great job for the Tigers, and he'll do the same for the Red Sox, getting them back.
And he didn't waste any time ensuring that there would be no closer issues for the Boston Red Sox. Those same closer issues that he had to deal with yearly in Detroit. Traded 4 players for Craig Kimbrell, who pitched here last night. To short. And Ibar with 2 outs makes the play, and O'Flaherty has another good inning. 3 up, 3 down, 5-2 Boston. We're in the 6th. Well, here's a fun bit of video from the Reds-Mets tilt in New York tonight. That's Billy Hamilton trying to outrace Bartolo Colon. Or should I say that's Bartolo Colon trying to outrace Billy Hamilton.
Well, there's that old adage about outrunning the baseball.
I mean, clearly he's much faster than his teammate thought he was. How far that ball was behind him.
Couldn't even keep his hat on. A lot like Willie Mays running out from under his hat.
Jeff Francoeurs had a great game. 2 hits, a run, and an RBI. And Price gets ahead of him. Mets are losing tonight 3-0 to the Reds. Brandon Finnegan is on the hill for Cincinnati. Bartolo Colon with 219 career wins is tied with Pedro Martinez for second place on the all-time win list by Dominican-born pitchers. Juan Marichal, numero uno.
Still love watching him pitch.
Down the left field line. That one's got a chance. That ball is foul. Dang it.
We're at 520 at bats since Drew Stubbs homered on April 10th. Another good hack by Jeff.
Price wanted that pitch, didn't get it. 2-2. When we get to Boston, of course, the DH will be in play tomorrow night. It'll be interesting to see who Freddie Gonzalez uses as his designated hitter against the Red Sox.
Tell you what, Jeff is all over everything Price is throwing. He's inviting him to try to come in on him. Laid off that backdoor breaking ball.
Inside corner, strike 3. Francoeur didn't think so.
Well, he didn't get the call on the outside part. He got a payback there on that one, because when you watch box tracks and saw this was a good 4 or 5 inches inside.
Yeah, that was on the chalk on the batter's box.
Yeah.
7th strikeout for Price. And Tyler Flowers is the batter. And Joe West just rung up Flowers, who turns and barks.
Tyler's airing him out too. I understand this is a left-hander kind of cross-firing to that spot. But Vasquez wasn't even set up on the plate.
Two outs for Stubbs, who struck out and walked. And right back where it came from.
I don't know how that missed him, if it did.
And as a pitcher, you know that feeling that how did it miss me?
Yeah.
Just barely.
One on, one out for Ibar, who singled back in the fourth. Excuse me, 2 outs for Ibar. Price struck out 10 on April 5th in Cleveland. And he's ahead 0-2.
Well, might as well go back to that same pitch he's calling.
Sure. There they go.
Toward third. And the long throw across the diamond high. And it pulled handed Ramirez off the bag. So Shaw with a throwing error keeps the inning alive. And Kelly Johnson grabs a bat. He'll hit with 2 on and 2 out.
Good hustle by Eric to run it out. Another good reason to run hard no matter what.
4th error by Shaw this year. So a few more pitches for David Price.
Let's see if they can make the extra out hurt.
Kelly's 3 for 17 in his career against David Price. One of those hits a homer.
They were teammates in Tampa Bay. I don't know if it was all in one year, but it seemed like there was a time there where Kelly played for every team in the American League East.
A couple years ago.
Yeah.
In 2014, Kelly played with the Yankees, Red Sox, and Orioles. In 2013, he was with Tampa Bay. In 2012, Toronto. So he played with them all in a 3-year stretch. Strike 3 call. Price strikes out the side, and we head to the 7th.
getting your child signed up to attend the Atlanta Braves baseball camp, the ultimate major league experience for boys and girls of all ability, ages 5 to 13. Braves baseball camps offer 1-week sessions in locations around the Atlanta area. Visit braves.com/camps today.
Chris Withrow grabs a baseball. He'll come out and work the 7th. David Price is the Red Sox pitcher, and he'll be the leadoff batter. 5-2 Red Sox. 5 runs on 5 hits. A first inning homer by Travis Shaw off Matt Whistler, the big blow tonight.
9th game for Withrow, and he's had a couple of days rest, which he needed. He had been getting in there a lot.
All right, Tommy, let's break down David Price's swing.
It's actually not a bad swing. Looks pretty comfortable in the box.
We need to take a look at a close-up of that shin guard on his right leg. I mean, that thing covers up everything except his kneecap.
Yeah. I mean, with his lack of hitting, and as soon as I say this, it'll happen, I'm not so sure of the risk of him fouling him, pulling one off his foot like that. But
that ball's put in play left side. Garcia with a spin and a throw to first in time. I think David Price raided Santa Claus's equipment bucket to pick up that shin guard.
Well, he might have beaten that out except for the wind resistance. It's like he had the flaps down. And I can only assume that he's wearing that because in anticipation of interleague play, the pitchers began to take some batting practice, and he hit one off his ankle.
Yeah, probably.
Mookie Betts. He's got an 0 for 3 night. And he'll be 0 for 4 if this one stays in play. Flowers back near the screen. Runs out of real estate. No balls, 1 strike. Lined into left. A 1-out single for Betts. And here's Pedroia, who scored 2 runs in the game.
When he fouled that one back, if it stayed in play, I was all set to say, you know, that all bets are off the bases, but it didn't work out that way.
Might get a chance to use it again later.
Okay, I'll save it. Just don't tell anybody.
Nope. Secret safe.
Big lead.
That started then stopped as Pedroia took a strike.
Betts is a pretty good 5th-round pick. Minor league average 299 games, 316. Double digits in stolen bases, a lot of runs scored.
What year was he picked?
That would have been 2011. .59, 180.
+3 years in the minor leagues. If you're hitting 360 or whatever, that'll
316.
That'll get you through the minor leagues pretty quick.
Runner goes. The Flowers throw way late. Betts has his 5th steal.
Well, one thing's for sure, we've seen this is not a Red Sox team that has to wait for a 3-run homer off the green, over the green monster.
No, they might get some, but they're going to force some action in between.
They got some guys that can run.
On 1 count for Dustin Pedroia. In the air to center. Stubbs is back. Betts will tag, and he'll make his way to third, standing up with 2 outs. Xander Bogaerts is the batter. 2 more hits tonight. And the talented Red Sox shortstop is our Georgia lottery hitting the jackpot.
When I look at hitting streaks, Tommy, I look at how many hits does a guy have. If he's only got 6 hits in a 6-game hitting streak, it's not all that impressive. But
no,
when you're getting 2 a night,
2 a night is pretty good, and hitting the ball hard and hitting it to all fields.
Xander Bogaerts, one of 4 players in recent vintage born in Aruba. Gene Kingsale and Calvin Maduro were 2 others.
How about the pitcher for the Orioles?
Sidney Ponson.
Yes.
Sidney Ponson was from Aruba.
Way to go.
Nice call.
That is great, Chip.
Medication.
Oh, okay. Whatever.
No balls, 2 strikes. And down the right field line. What a piece of hitting by Xander Bogaerts. He's got an extra base hit. He'll stop at second, and the Red Sox are pouring it on. It's 6-2.
Well, tried to go up and in and missed down and away.
Xander Bogaerts is 23 years old. He's in the early stages of what looks to be a terrific major league career as Chris Withrow is chased in the 7th. 1 in, 1 on, 2 outs for Boston.
Braves baseball is sponsored by your local Toyota dealers, Let's Go Places, and the Georgia Lottery.
We hope you'll stay tuned after the game for Braves Live, presented by Xfinity. We'll recap all of our action tonight. Check in with skipper Freddie Gonzalez, as well as the Braves clubhouse. Kelsey Wingert will have those interviews for you, as the Red Sox have extended their lead in the 7th, and Hunter Cervenka is now on to pitch.
His 8th game has not given up an earned run. He's doing good work. He's inherited 5 runners. None have scored. He's retired 5 of the 7 first batters he's faced. Doing good work. 6'1", 245.
Travis Shaw is the hitter. And he's a good looking hitter. Entered play tonight, 8th in the American League in hitting. He's added a point at 319. And sprayed foul to the left side, out of play. Fan from Braintree, Mass. made the catch.
Come down on the train.
$23,487 in attendance. Swing and a miss. Throw to third. And in safely is Bogaerts. Cervenka never looked at him, and Bogaerts stole his second base of the game.
You are taught about stealing third base. You better be sure. And with 2 outs, you better make it. Well, he had such a huge jump. He had timed that perfectly. Cervenka slow to the plate. No chance for Flowers, even with a good throw. You can't assume with 2 outs. You can't assume anything at this level.
No, like you say, if you don't pay attention to them, they're going to take it gladly.
Boston's offense doing tonight what it's done virtually the entire road trip. They scored a first inning run for the 6th time in their last 7 games. Since being 1 hit by Tampa Bay, they're hitting .317 as a club. Tonight, 6 runs on 7 hits, and David Price on the mound. And Flowers a nice stop. Wonder how many batting practice sessions Travis Shaw's dad Jeff threw him in Ohio growing up. And it's paid off for the young Boston slugger. And this one's popped up over near the Red Sox on deck circle. Garcia on the warning track puts the squeeze on it, and that retires the side. 7th inning stretch, 4-run Boston game, 6-2.
Baseball is presented by Mazda, Georgia Power, and Xfinity. X1 from Xfinity will change the way you experience sports.
We go to the bottom of the 7th. Red Sox lead by 4. Time for tonight's game summary brought to you by Mazda. Jeff Francoeur's had a good night, 2 for 3, a run scored and an RBI, but otherwise it's been the Red Sox, and they scored 4 in the first and have not looked back. David Price still out there, 9 strikeouts in 6 innings so far.
So a big sports night here in Atlanta. The Hawks and Celtics are playing just down the street. And the Celtics have a 7-point lead in the second quarter, I believe.
4-point lead.
4-point lead now. Pivotal game 5 as Nick Markakis leads off. He's flied out twice and struck out once. And he's going to ground out. Ball stayed down at second, but Pedroia hung with it. Excellent defensive second baseman. Markakis is the first out.
Congratulations to your St. Louis Blues, Chip.
Man, that was great.
Advancing in the NHL playoffs, Game 7. Knocking off the defending champs.
Maybe this will be the year for the Blues.
As our good friend and big Braves fan Ric Flair says, to be the champ, you got to beat the champ.
There you go. Woo.
Daniel deserves a hit tonight. He's hit the ball hard 3 times, nothing to show for it.
How's the Nature Boy doing? Has anybody heard from Ric Flair lately?
I haven't.
One ball, 2 strikes. Might be time for some zany promotions as Castro is called out on strikes. Remember years ago, I'm sure Joe does, maybe Tommy does too, headlock and wedlock night.
Seriously?
Yeah, they had a mass wedding ceremony and they had a bunch of wrestlers out at the ballpark.
They were the real wrestlers or the people that got married?
Well, I don't know the answer to that. But would it be great to have Ric Flair come out?
Yeah.
Hang out in the booth with us?
Tex Fay, one of our camera operators, has got him on speed dial, I think.
David Price with 10 strikeouts. Struck out the side last inning. And this is why they got him.
He's been sharp tonight. Good bounce back from his last game. That being said, though, I mean, the Braves had their chances. They had a couple chances early. They've left 7 guys on base. Kind of that same theme. They haven't been able to come up with that big base hit or big extra base hit.
Bases loaded in the 4th with 1 out. Got the sacrifice fly from the pitcher.
Foul at third. I'm guessing Adonis will be the DH in Boston. Mentioned that earlier. Freddie Gonzalez said yesterday that on this road trip you might see Adonis spend some time in the outfield for the Braves. I don't think Fenway Park's a place you want to send him out there for the first time.
Negative.
No.
And another strikeout. David Price is rolling. 11 strikeouts. Airport and jump on our Delta charter and head up to Boston to begin our 2-game series with the Red Sox at historic Fenway Park. And we hope you'll join us right back here on Fox Sports South for Game 3 of this 4-game series. 2 games in Atlanta, 2 games in Boston. Our coverage starts at 6:30 on Fox Sports South, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. It's April in the ATL, presented by Cook's Pest Control. Ryan Weber is going to come on and pitch.
Sure, Max cooking up the clam chowder for you guys, probably. Some Boston baked beans for the trip.
That would be terrific.
I don't mean to dissent, but a NyQuil on the rocks might be
yeah,
right up my alley.
good chance you're not going to be awake to see takeoff.
No. Let's see if Weber can work 2 effective innings, save the bullpen. As we get set to go to Boston, Ramirez, Bradley, and Holt are coming up. Good night down on the farm. Kelsey was talking about the youngsters earlier tonight. Tyrell Jenkins picked up a win for Gwinnett, and Max Pavsey was victorious as well this evening. And that's hit out to short. Ibar's got it, and Hanley Ramirez is an easy out. Max Pavsey for Carolina began tonight's play with a 1.42 ERA. Tyrell Jenkins started play tonight with a 1-1 record and a 2.40 run average.
Terrell really seemed to get his feet under him the last month of the season at Gwinnett. Seems like he's carried that right into this year.
Another name you want to keep an eye on with Gwinnett is third baseman Rio Ruiz. Remember last year, Rio had a bit of a down season at the plate. That's not the case right now. Despite an 0 for 4 last night to snap an 8-game hitting streak, Ruiz leads the Gwinnett club with a .358 batting average. And last I checked, I believe he's made just 1 error at third base. Ozzie Albies leads the Mississippi Braves in hitting with a .333 mark. Dustin Peterson with 2 homers and 9 RBIs leads in those categories.
Yeah, and Ozzie had a home run tonight.
Did he?
Today had a day game.
Swing and a miss by Bradley. Weber keeps throwing strikes. And Bradley is struck out for the first time.
It's all about location for Ryan. We've said that before. That good 3 2/3 innings of long relief he had against the Dodgers was outstanding. Boy, he was hitting his spots, mixing in the changeup. And then it wasn't the case his next time out, where he was in the middle of the plate and gave up some hard hit balls against the Mets.
Well, that's where velocity can help you. You miss your spot, you can get away with it with stuff. But in Ryan's case, that's not the case. So you're right. He's got to be around the corners and changing speeds.
In his minor league career, Weber walked 92 men in 576 innings.
It's pretty good. Real good.
And that one's hit toward short. Ibar had Holtz play perfectly and got him by a step. 3 up, 3 down for Weber, who looked good in his first inning tonight. 6-2. Boston has the lead. Let's check in with the Hawks. Pivotal game 5 down the road. Jay Crowder, with a wide open 3. And back and forth they go in a big ball game for the Hawks and Celtics. We'll run into Steve Holman up in Boston. That series will move up to Boston for game 6. Freddie Freeman 1 for 3. Eleven strikeouts for David Price, only 101 pitches. He has issued 2 walks in the game. Got out of first inning trouble, allowing only 1 run. And Matt Whistler's sac fly accounted for the second and final Braves run back in inning number 4.
Sign of a big league pitcher and a good one is when he's getting a call like he's been getting from Joe West on the inside corner and off the plate to right-handed hitters. He's been going back to it. So 5 straight called third strikes out of his 11 Ks.
Freeman's down on strikes. That's 12. And 3 in a row. .12 was Price's high last year. His career high is 14. He's gotten every Brave who's played tonight on strikes with the exception of Eric Ibar.
And Francoeur was the first one that got rung up on that inside corner, or in the vicinity of the inside corner.
I think Frenchie's going to sit on one inside. I think he's figuring he's going to get one.
What a good changeup.
Yeah.
I mean, and folks, that was right down the middle, you know, above the knees, hittable, but because of the motion, a good one.
And Jeff swings through it. 2-2.
Well, is he going to go there again? Inside corner ish area. No.
He's thinking it though.
That's what makes him good too, being able to do that.
It's clinic for David Price.
See, as a hitter, you've already been burned inside. You know that he's going to get the call if it's anywhere close to the same place as the last time. So Jeff's geared up for that, and then all of a sudden it's too close to take to the outside corner, and that's what happens.
David Price has struck out the last 4 Braves hitters.
That big pitch inning in the first, 23 pitches, all came with 2 out, 3 singles and a walk, but the Braves only mustered 1 run. That light. See his career high is 14, Chip?
14.
He's not sweating.
Strike 3 inside corner. David Price has struck out the side for the second time in the last 3 innings, and he matches his career high with 14 Ks in a masterpiece in Atlanta.
ATL, and both the Braves and the Hawks are headed to Beantown tomorrow at 6:30 Eastern. Our Braves and Red Sox series continues right here on Fox Sports South and Fox Sports Go. And Thursday at 7:30 Eastern, the Hawks meet the Celtics in a critical Game 6 of the NBA playoffs over on Fox Sports Southeast and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. It's a Boston Sweet Tea Party.
Ryan Weber ready for the 9th inning. Vasquez, David Price, and then the top of the order.
8 of the last 9 outs recorded by David Price have been strikeouts. And he went right back to that same spot inside and got the call from Joe West. Tyler Flowers still barking at him about it.
Still going at it.
Red Sox fans here at Turner Field are chanting for Poppy. They want to see David Ortiz pinch hit. Pitcher spot due up third, but David Price may go back out there to try to finish it.
Foul straight back by Christian Vasquez. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Said up third, he's up second. Price is, and they do have a pinch hitter out for him. Beg your pardon.
I think that's Chris Young. That is a fair ball. Vasquez steers one down the left field line. And he's got a leadoff double.
Right over the bag.
So Chris Young Welcome to Atlanta with a standing boo by the Red Sox fans because he's not David Ortiz.
Say David Price got back on track tonight.
.114 pitches with 14 strikeouts.
That's pretty efficient. It really is.
And barring a huge collapse, he'll go to 3-0. Chan, what's Price's ERA now? He came in with an unsightly 7.06.
Yeah, and the offense was a little stingy. They only gave him 6 runs tonight.
Well, he kind of sensed that, so he was really bearing down.
Popped up behind first. Freeman out. Markakis coming on. It falls into no man's land. And Young never stopped running. He'll stand at second. Back-to-back doubles.
It's not often you get back-to-back doubles and you don't score a run.
Yeah.
But Vasquez had to wait to see if this ball was going to be caught. And it was out there in the Bermuda Triangle.
Mookie Betts, another at bat. He singled, stole a base, and scored last time up. Back to the mound. Weber looks the runner back. Good play. 1 out.
Nicely done.
Fans, follow Braves Baseball live with the MLB.com at bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with Game Day. Live game video highlights, StatCast, news, and more. Download MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and your tablet. Pedroia scored a couple of runs. Hey, nice catch.
Nice play.
Well, a young fan from the Sandy Plains Little League made that play. No balls, 2 strikes. Little pop. Long run Ibar. Stubbs is coming in. That's another bloop. No Moss. Was it Wee Willie Keeler that used to say, "I'm going to hit them where they ain't"?
Yeah.
Red Sox are doing that here in the 9th.
Pedroia's done that today. Flare down the right field line, and now a Ric Flair to center.
So Pedroia drives home his 7th run. And now Bogarts with men at first and second.
Look at the line score tomorrow. It's going to look like Ryan Weber got touched up pretty hard in the 9th inning. A couple of doubles, a single.
Yeah, he's made some good pitches, but like you said, Sox found some holes and nothing you can do about that.
Bogart's complaining about that call on the inside part or thereabouts.
Surely he's seen it from shortstop for the last 3 innings.
I think he has.
That squibbed foul at third, and Bogarts will stay alive at 1-2.
Was it last year that the Braves played Toronto in the 4 straight days, or was it 2 years ago? The 2-2.
I mean, look.
Boston last year, Chan's telling me, so it must have been Toronto 2 years ago.
1 ball, 2 strikes. I get the home and home thing. I don't like what the schedule maker does to the players.
Well, the part about playing a night game in Boston on Thursday and a 1:20 game in Chicago on Friday, I don't know how that slipped by the Players Association and whomever puts the stamp of approval on it, but that's awful.
Yeah, we could have at least given you a 4 o'clock start, Chicago, at a minimum.
Bouncing ball towards short. Ibar to second for 1. And no chance to get Bogarts. 2 outs. Well, there are all kinds of city ordinances that govern game times at Wrigley Field. The latest that can start a game, I believe, on a Friday is at 2:20. So you have to play.
If that's the case, then it should have been a day game in Boston.
And you could make the case, why didn't we play tonight?
Could have been. Yeah.
Why was this a day game?
True, but at least you have a night game tomorrow night.
Yeah. This is more understandable, certainly, than that Thursday night game.
Shaw tries to split a gap, and he's going to. What a night for Shaw. That one's off the base of the fence. And 2 more runs are going to score. Shaw with a 5 RBI game, and the Red Sox have blown it open in the 9th inning.
Again, these young guys for the Red Sox, and Shaw won the job at third base from Sandoval in spring training. He's showing you why. They can swing it.
Andy Ramirez drives one to right. Markakis into the corner. That's off the wall. That bounces back toward the infield. Shaw scores. Andy Ramirez doubles. 6 hits, 4 runs in the inning. Bradley was hit by a pitch in the first inning and scored the 4th Boston run. And there's no safety net for Ryan Weber. He's got to get the 3rd out. Oh, 2.
It's actually 3 years ago. Chan looked it up that the Braves played those 4 games in a row with Toronto, 2 there, 2 here. Braves have gone 4 in a row with the Red Sox the last 2 seasons. Now 3.
Another rocket shot toward the gap. Another run is in. Bradley's on his way to 3rd. And the Braves outfield is going to need oxygen therapy. They are running for their lives in this inning. 4 doubles, a single, and a triple.
Gonzalez didn't want to have to get anyone else up. Wanted Weber to be able to finish this inning, but he's on fumes himself.
Well, a couple CNI doubles and hits to start, and 3 pretty hard hit balls here in succession. But like you said, he's taking one for the team a little bit right here. He hate to waste another arm for 1 out.
(11-2) Boston.
It's a pretty good recipe. 4 in the first, 5 in the ninth. That's going to win a lot of games. There was a time where Brock Holt would have had to have been hanging loose in there. And really go back about 3 or 4 hitters before him that would have had to hang loose.
Yeah. Brock Holt, the 9th Boston hitter. Three and 2.
Weber about to make his 30th pitch of the inning.
To short. And mercifully, the inning is over. 9 come to the plate, 5 score. The bottom of the 9th inning. When David Price gets spotted a 4-run lead in the first, you know you're in for a rough night. And tonight the Braves ran into a buzzsaw.
As you said, Tommy, they had a few chances early in the ball game, couldn't capitalize in a big way against him, and then he settled in.
Yeah, he settled in, got stronger as the game went on. Certainly a lot more comfortable with his location. Mixed his pitches, mixed his speeds, and then, like we talked about, found that inside strike to the right-handed hitters the last 3 innings of the game, and boy, did he take advantage of that. At one point, what would we say, he had 8 out of 9 outs were strikeouts. So.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive, and I'd say feeling much better about himself coming off of his last start against Tampa Bay.
Well, this is Coors' brother, Pat. 5 games in Pawtucket. 4.05 ERA. Brother pitches in a beer league.
And he'll face Drew Stubbs. This guy can really bring it. He's out of Monmouth University. Highest draft pick in Monmouth school history. Supplemental pick in 2012. This 37th overall choice. And Drew Stubbs guides one into center field for a leadoff hit. Stubbs has reached base 3 times. That's his second hit. That struck the other way. Ibar goes with a pitch. And the Braves have runners first and third.
2-hit night for Eric. That's a good sign. Well, 9 in the 9th.
There you go. Why not? Alex Smith. Way high. Love watching Alex play. I think we'd all agree he is learning on the job from the offensive standpoint, but he can really go get him in the outfield.
Yeah, he's played a solid outfield.
Yeah, Freddie Gonzalez bragging on him before the game tonight about how many runs he's been saving.
Light's throwing hard, but has no idea where it's going.
Yeah, he's 95 to 97. .65, 220.
And a 4-pitch walk loads the bases.
To Monmouth University. Shows you he had 5 outings for Pawtucket. He's going to have another one for Pawtucket real soon if he starts walking a bunch of guys.
Well, they brought him up because their bullpen had been used so much before the Boston club got to Atlanta. They may have to get somebody else into the ball game as Light has the bases loaded and Nick Markakis up.
Yeah, nothing will
endear you with your manager more than walking guys with a 9-run lead in the ninth.
This is kind of like that story Don Sutton tells. It's a good one about having a little trouble early in a ball game, and his pitching coach Red Adams came out and said, "How's your fastball?" Don said, "Good." "How's your curveball?" "Good." "How's your slider?" "Good." He goes, "How about getting some of it over the plate?" And turned around and went back to the dugout.
Two beauties in a row.
Yeah, and the first thing he did was look at the radar gun.
Yeah.
Got the ball back in the catcher and checked out to see how hard he threw that one.
Dribbled toward third. And the throw will go to first. Markakis gets an RBI as Stubbs scores. That makes it 11-3. 15 RBIs for Markakis. Ivar at third, Smith at second. Bouncing ball to short. That'll get another run home.
2 out in the ninth. Braves fans become an A-list member today and secure the best seats for the final season at Turner Field and the inaugural season at SunTrust Park. Multiple ticket options and exclusive benefits customized to meet your unique needs. Don't miss out on becoming an A-list member today. Visit Braves.com/A-list or call 404-577-9100.
Adonis Garcia scored the first run for the Braves. He picked up the first of 3 consecutive hits against David Price. And this one's chopped off the plate. Shaw at third, waits for gravity and throws a strike to first. Nice stretch by Hanley Ramirez. And the Boston Red Sox scored early, scored late, and in between. David Price was magnificent with a 14 strikeout performance. The series moves to Fenway Park after an 11-4 Red Sox sweep here in Atlanta.